What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again with another video, and this one is all about Pedro. But before we get into it, let's start off by giving a big massive shout out to every single person that is a member of the channel, every single person that is a member of Patreon, where you can find today's episode of Life After Lockup. And also, let's give a shout out to every single person that is a subscriber as we continue to grow. Now, normally I don't normally do this, but I was get my words out my freaking mouth. God damn, it's so hot. My mouth is just melting of no words. Yeah, but let's continue. So I'm on Reddit, come across a thread, and I thought to myself, I've got to share this thread right here because, to be honest, it's a topic that I believe is worth having in the comment section. But let's begin and let's get into it. As you can see, it is titled, Pedro is absolutely delusional. And shout out to the person who obviously made this post up, in particular, Juan over here at the top. As you can see, this person starts off by saying, Pedro is delusional. He's a hypocrite. I can't believe I used to root for him and Chantel. And I'm not saying Chantel is perfect, neither. But she sure does have a better grip of reality than he does. And this isn't about her right now, hence the title. Before anything else, I'm aware they allegedly separate/divorce now. Yeah, they are going through the process of, the divorce. Now, let's get into this very first paragraph and break it down. He has done absolutely nothing, in my opinion, to fix his marriage. He's done nothing to make Chantel feel secure or loved or appreciated. The first thing he said when Chantel didn't graduate on time was, "What about me?" I understand the culture and the assignment roles in a household, but if he thinks any form of hospital staff is going to come home and cater to him after he sits in an office all day, he's insane. Or he's insane. They probably could have moved out already if he wasn't sending all that money back to DR seasons ago. And to be fair with you, I really want to emphasize on the hospital staff. Now, I know that when it comes to being a nurse, nurses predominantly work 12-hour shifts. Now, some of them can work 12-hour shifts for 4 days straight. Some of them can do it for 3 days. It really depends on what role they have, what their contract, but it is generally always a 12-hour shift. And no human being wants to go to work for 12 hours to come back home to have to do certain things. So really and truly, in the situation where you and your partner are both working, ideally, this is when you want you and your partner to have a compromise of responsibilities. But the problem we have with Pedro is that, you see, for him, because he wasn't working for a certain amount of time, he believes that because he was doing certain things at that time when she was working, it's now her turn to take the role. But what he's unable to realize, which is the reality part, and this is why I agree with, he doesn't seem to be able to get the grip of reality, and this is why Chantel has a better grip of reality. And that grip of reality is understanding that you're now both working. You're both working full time. And at the end of the day, it is important that you both compromise on responsibilities. It is not a case of you're the woman and you do the... No. You're both working. You're both paying bills. And because you're both paying bills and you're both working, it therefore means you find a compromise. That is what a relationship is supposed to be about. That is what a marriage is supposed to be about. At the end of the day, though, you shouldn't be getting married without even getting the compromising first. Some people be rushing their life just for a 90-day fiancé visa. And then in the end, kind of feels like you got used for it. But anyway, let's continue. So, moving on here, the fact that he turned Chantel's gesture around on her really made my blood boil. Granted, she lied, but for good cause. How was she supposed to tell his side to his mom? She didn't badmouth him once. Nothing is enough for him at this point. And you know what, though? This is a very strong point. Nothing is enough for him at this point. Why? Because he's too far gone. And in his eyes, it's a little bit too late. And that is why he's behaving the way he's behaving. But the fact is, though, just because it's a little bit too late, it does not mean that you don't respect the person that you married. She's still your wife, okay? And to be fair with you, to be quite frank, she's the reason why you're now working in America. And also on top of that, she's the reason why you was able to even send money back home all those seasons ago when that money could have been used to progress both your lives a whole lot more sooner. Who knows, maybe these two could have been in a happy relationship with children by now. But of course, the children were delayed and the relationship itself has taken absolute, unhealthy turns. But to be honest with you, it's a good thing that children didn't happen because of where we are now. Because if children did happen, damn, the toxic energy would have been different. But hey, let's continue. And don't even get me started on Antolia. I hope I said the name right. Carpooling is one thing, but leaving her stuff in your house, who wouldn't get jealous? That is true. And many women out here know they would get jealous if they found a mug, a cup, a bottle that is another woman's one, and especially with a name on top. So to be fair, I agree with that one. So therefore, that whole scene when Chantel turned up to the workplace and she was asking about that, every single woman in that scene, woman, yes, I'm targeting women, I say on my chest, was being hypocritical. Because the fact is, if it was you, and it was your man, or maybe even your girlfriend, you'd be pissed. Tell me otherwise. Unless, of course, you're one of these saints, which do exist, don't get me wrong, but they are a rare breed. But nonetheless, though, let's continue. Especially with how emotionally distant he's been, I personally think Chantel was right to confront her and set the boundary. Like the girl, don't be in my house leaving your mark when I am not home. I mean, listen, it's important to set a boundary, but I don't think it's a case of where Chantel should have set the boundary with the young lady. It's a case where Chantel should have set that boundary with Pedro. But to be fair with you, is the boundary really the answer? Not necessarily, because what matters more is having that communication. If Pedro and Chantel were able to have a good communication around why there was items of another woman in the house, then the situation wouldn't have escalated. So to be honest with you, the first thing that needed to be sorted out was the communication. But of course, the communication has been absolutely pants for the longest time. Why? Because Pedro has been unwilling to want to have any decent communication with Chantel, because he's been unwilling to resolve their relationship. He's been unwilling to want a relation to even work, even though he does say numerous times that I tried, I wanted. But the fact is this: if you got someone, you know what? Let's continue. Let me not sidetrack a bit too much in my commentary. And also, Antonio, you're married with kids. What business do you have? Whatever. That is a very, 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 very fair point. Because to be honest with you, if her partner had another woman leave a bottle or whatever with her name on it, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have been happy with that neither. So to be fair, that is a very fair point. What business? Yes, Chantel didn't even make a big scene for him. He to have acted out the way he did. That is very true, because to be fair, Chantel did walk into the workplace or the scenery, casually, calmly, and she just voiced a few things in the right manner, if you ask me, because she wasn't screaming, she wasn't shouting. I mean, she wasn't behaving like Angela Dean, if you know what I mean. She was behaving just like, okay, I'm just here to get answers, and I'm here just to see what's happening. But the thing is, but the saddest thing is that I have to actually agree with Chantel's actions. Why? Because you see, Pedro was given a no choice. So at this point here, Chantel had options. It's either one, when he gets home, tell him, you know what, it's over, because clearly you're no longer wanting to be in his relationship. Or two, take matters in your own hands, because when you've tried to have a communication with him, he has refused. So because she still wanted to be with him, I understand why she felt the need to take matters into her own hands. So it is understandable to a certain degree. But hey, let's continue. Now, as you can see right here, where are we? Here we go. And don't even get me started. Oh, no, sorry. We've already done that. We're here now. My apologies. Okay, let's continue. I'm probably going to get downvoted into oblivion over this, but I think Karen made a point. Pedro got what he wanted from Chantel, and now he's ready to be on his own in this country. I mean, to be honest with you, it is very easy to say that. It's very evident for us to be out here and be like, you know what? That is how we feel at this moment in time. Why? Well, simply because, look at it this way. A marriage is built on many things. But before you get married because you feel like the person you're about to marry is that person. And when you feel like that person is that person, it means you're ready also for any challenge that comes your way to be able to fight the challenge together, battle it together. And the problem is that, yeah, they've had a lot of issues here and there with interruptions from Karen, interruptions even from Pedro's family. But Chantel seems to be a point where she's like, you know what? Let's now try and make things right. Chantel's at a stage where she's like, let me now try the one thing that I haven't tried yet. At least give me that. Now, of course, it can still be a little bit too late, which frankly it was. But because she's now finally making that effort, is that something that maybe Pedro could have taken into consideration? Yes, not necessarily in consideration of, okay, we can make it work, but at least in consideration of, you know what, I respect the fact that you're doing this. I mean, it's a little bit too late, but I respect the fact that you recognize an area that should have been worked on. And therefore, I'm going to treat you with respect. But instead of treating her with the respect, you treat her with dirt. Because at the end of the day, when he found out that she was in DR, and then he flew there himself in particular, he could have just turned up and said to her, listen, I appreciate you coming out here because you want to save our marriage. But to be honest with you, this is something that I wanted from you a long time ago. But you didn't do that. You're only doing it now because you feel like you need to. And that is the problem. The problem is that you're doing things because you feel like you need to, not because you want to. And therefore, our relationship is still, so therefore I'm still going to move out. That is how it really and truly I would have preferred him to conduct himself, because it shows that at least he's respecting her efforts, but also letting her know why the efforts aren't good enough because of X, Y, Z. But hey, it really depends on how you look at it, right? But let's continue. And because obviously the way he's reacted now, it is easy for anyone and everyone to be like, you know what? It's now looking like as if you're looking to quit the relationship easily because you got the card. The question is, if you didn't get the card, would you have quit the relationship this easy? And that's always going to be the question for many people. Even though they've had challenges over the years, they still end up getting married anyway. And even when they got married, they still was married throughout the whole process of him even getting that green card anyway. So which means that throughout the time these two had problems, he had opportunities to leave the relationship multiple times, but he never actually ever took it. He only took it now that he has his own business, well, not business, but now he's got a job that's paying him well. He's got the green card that also allows him to bring his family to the States. It does now look a whole lot more suspect. It definitely does now make it look like, after everything that we've been through, you're throwing the towel. Now you're in a place financially and green card worthy. But why didn't you throw in the towel beforehand? I know obviously each and every time that we had an argument, I obviously would always chase you, and, to try and bring you back, and you came back. But I'm doing it again now. So what's different? That's where we can say it's a little too late. Or that's what we can say what's different is that he now has the power of the green card and the power of having a job that allows him to bring his family over. So there is that too. But it really depends on what perspective you're going to look at it, because there's so many different dynamics. And that's why I'm looking really forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section. Now let's continue. Now it continues by saying, and now I firmly believe he's using her. They were cute when they were back in DR and were young and just messing around. But ever since the process of the K1, I think he's been chasing his green card. Like, it's so convenient that now he has a car, a huge house, a great job, that he's fishing for issues and ready to dip. Fair point. Very fair point. I'll give him points for his honesty. He's making it very clear that he wants nothing to do with her anymore. He's doing a great job by pushing her away and making her feel worthless, unimportant, and he's a master gaslighter. I mean, definitely he is a master gaslighter. But to be fair, because he's a master gaslighter, that's why I can't necessarily give him points for honesty. Because you see, there's a fine line of being honest for the right reasons and being honest because you're trying to trigger someone. Some of the things he says that he's honest about are things that are genuine things that should have been solved. But the tone of them being said, the intentions of them being said, is to push her away. Rather than to say, listen, this is why I'm leaving. There's a fine line of being honest, of explaining why you're leaving and why there's no return, compared to saying why you're leaving, but you're saying, but but there's a fine line where you say honesty because you're trying to get that person to basically go away. And that is where the respect level completely disappears. So for me personally, can I respect or give points for the honesty? Not necessarily, because a lot of the honesty hasn't really been honesty in the right way. It's been honesty in a more of a I'm pushing you away type of way. Hence the reason why, of course, Mr. Master Gaslighter. Now, I also finishes off by saying, and can I be honest, I don't think Chantel loves him fully neither. I think she loves being married. You know what? That's a very good point now. I mean, for me personally, I think that Chantel did love him. And I do believe that Chantel still does love him, still has love for him. But I think that Chantel's love for him is starting to fade away, but she has hope that it can be regained because she's invested so many years being in a relationship with this man, going through so many battles with him based on her faults and his faults, based on her family's faults and his family's faults. So at the end of the day, she's always going to have that false hope that maybe things can still work because she still has that love for him. Definitely more love than he has for her, or any love, or definitely more love he's ever had for her, if anything. So to be honest with you, does it really matter whether she still is fully in love with him or not? It does to a certain degree, but in a certain degree, it doesn't matter. But it does matter to the fact that, in my opinion, I do believe that she was in love with him. I do believe that she still is in love with him, and I do believe that even though that he's breaking her down, she has that hope. And the matter of fact, everybody knows this: when you've been in a toxic relationship with someone toxic and you have that love for them, That love, that little percentage of love is something that you hold on to into hoping things will improve. But the saddest thing is that little hope of love, you need to let go, ladies and gentlemen. Let go of that little hope. That little hope is the heartbreaker. That little hope is what traumatizes you. That little hope is what just makes you feel absolutely upside down, among so many other things. But hey, let's finish off with the last line. Bottom line, Pedro lacks any accountability. He's delusional to think he's innocent, and that Chantel that Chantel's the issue. I feel bad for whoever he finds next. And you know what? That last line right there, I can do nothing but agree, to be honest with you. To be fair, I could refresh the page and check out more comments on this little thread, but I don't want to share comments because I want to see what comments you guys have in the comment section, okay? Because obviously it'd be interesting to see you guys having your own comments based on just what we've seen here rather than, seeing other people's and then, whatever. So let's see what you guys can figure out and what you can think and let me know in the comment section. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the post was very good, very strong, very accurate to a certain degree. And I think these are points that are worth for everyone to talk about. That's what we're here for, right? Interaction. But nonetheless, though, thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, Patreon. Life After Lockup is out today, tomorrow. 9-Day Fiancé UK will be out as well, so don't forget that, okay? And so on throughout the week for other stuff on Patreon. But nonetheless, though, don't forget to also become a member of the channel for early access as well. But thank you so much for your time, and feel free to super chat. No, super thanks. Yes, peace.